If you could give advice for your younger self, what would you say? I'm Kim, and I'm the Content Marketing Specialist for Covetrus, and that's exactly what we asked Georgia, our Executive Vice President for Global Technology Solutions. No doubt, she gives excellent insight into what it means to be a courageous human being and how to get the most out of life. In episode 5 of Pause, Rewind and Play, we dissect what leadership excellence looks like, how technology can help your clinic and give it the connectivity it needs to ensure that everything interoperates with each other. Georgia's enthusiasm comes across massively in this episode, and I love her stance on purpose, diversity, inclusion, and being endlessly curious. Let's dive in. Hey Georgia, and welcome to an episode of Pause, Rewind and Play. We're really happy to have you on this episode because you are our first internal guest. You're the Executive Vice President for Covetrus Global Technology Solutions. So I think, internally and externally, our employees, customers, and other listeners alike will be really happy to hear from you and get your expert opinion. So being a leader, can you just tell me a little bit about your story, how you came to be at Covetrus, and what got you sucked into the veterinary industry?
Yeah, of course. First of all, thank you for having me. As you already know, I love this series, and thank you for continually giving us fresh content and really kind of helping us think through what's going on in the industry as well, and interesting speakers. And so hopefully I can live up to that, the former speakers that you have in your rotation. So I'm actually hail from England originally. I live here in the US, in Portland, Maine. It's a beautiful part of the country. I'm actually a reformed CFO, and so I actually grew up as a finance person, chartered accountant. I qualified in England and moved across here in a finance role actually about 13, 14 years ago. I joined Covetrus, I want to say 4 years ago. In fact, it's 4 years ago next month, and it was actually one of the original companies, Vet's First Choice, first to run operations for them, and then very quickly, about 4 months into that role, I took over as the president of Vet's First Choice, which is in the US, our global prescription management business. Now, when we went public, I was one of the founding team members of our going public and our merger with Henry Schein. And I had the absolute pleasure of taking over all of the software solutions that we have globally. So everything from kind of your practice management solutions, inventory management, appointment management, any software that you kind of find in and around a vet practice, as well as kind of softwares that help our consumers engage with their veterinarians. So how do you think about booking appointments or making sure that your animal has the right prescriptions? So on my side of the world here in Covetrus, we look at any form of technology as to how to enhance the vet-patient relationship, therefore speaking to the consumer side of our business. And then also, how do we make the veterinary practices more efficient? So that's kind of how I came to be at Covetrus and what I do here.
Yeah, and I think it's wonderful because what I really like about Covetrus is the fact that we strive to keep people connected. So the practice is connected to their customers, to their clients, they're connected to the pets, to the patients. Everything is about that connectivity, that whole ecosystem, and just keeping that alive and operational and healthy and well. And that's exactly what we're trying to do and trying to optimize. So as being on the leadership team, what do you feel like helps foster creativity and innovation? And what's your view of leadership excellence?
Great question, by the way. I would say that being at Covetrus, we are all about how do we think about better care, better business. And so that comes in many forms here, actually. Everything from providing proprietary solutions in the form of compounded medications or unique solutions that our cruiser business offers or veterinary instruments on surgery, all the way through to the technology solutions that we help power vet practices inside the four walls. And so when we think about innovation, specifically at GTS, which is Global Technology Solutions, the group that I have the pleasure to work with, we actually think much more around efficiency, effectiveness, and how to push the industry forward in that connection. You mentioned it before, it's all about driving the connection of the vet to pet relationship. And so in thinking through how to guide in that area and how to lead in that area, it's all about empowerment, helping people connect with their why. Like, why am I here? What do we stand for? How does my work every day connect to what our mission, our vision, our values are here at Covetrus? And part of that's us helping our employees figure out how to share the customer goal. It's one of our core values. How do you think every day about solving a problem for your customer? And a lot of product development work, technology work is about that. It isn't about deciding or waking up one morning and an engineer saying, I want to build this widget. It's actually about our product teams working really closely with our customers to solve a problem. We don't need them to tell us how to solve the problem. Our job actually in GTS is to figure out how to solve those problems. But we do need to work out what are the biggest problems to solve. And that's how you drive innovation within the business, is focusing on customer first, focusing on how to get a better outcome on behalf of your customers.
Yeah, and it's a good point actually, because I saw a couple of weeks ago you shared a post on LinkedIn which showed your support of fostering and creating a purpose in your employees and staff, and how we empower them, being, in parallel to being customer first. So it's like that motivation, that supportive environment, and that community, right?
100%. And the one thing I will say about the animal health industry is I spent 10 years in footwear prior to coming here. So you might look at that and say, what's that connection? But actually, I joined the company because I was really impressed by the enthusiasm and the team and their desire to kind of just want to change the industry or help and change the industry, I should probably say. But I really think that at all levels of the organization, you should do your work with purpose and for a reason, and to guide to an outcome that supports the industry. And we're super lucky. We work in an industry that is massively passionate about what they do. Veterinarians and their staff get up every day, not because they're paid huge sums of money. We know in the industry they're not paid anywhere near what they deserve.
Not at all.
My opinion, of course, they're not paid anywhere near what they deserve. They do it for the passion and the drive and the health of animals. It's actually, to me, one of the more true callings in a profession. And so we're very lucky here at Covetrus in that kind of we already have a why. Our why is to help animals and to help the community that serve them.
Yeah, it's absolutely a way of life. And I think, in Sanskrit, it's your dharma. What's your dharma? What's your purpose? And that's the only thing that will keep you alive, I suppose, during your career, during your life. Otherwise, it fizzles out very quickly. You get bored, you get frustrated, you build resentment. And that's the very thing that we want to avoid, especially when we're leading a team, managing them. So let me ask, how do, we're talking about technology, how do you think that's changed the face of the way clinics are working, especially post-COVID? We're, 19, 20 months in. Do you see any significant evolution or challenges, solutions? What's your view?
Yeah, I would say that, as with most things, when you look at both, I'll do it from two sides, customer and consumer. And they both impact each other, by the way, because vets are also consumers. So the things that they're looking for as tools are exactly what we're looking for as consumers as tools. And so I would say that what the pandemic definitely did through that process, and we do a ton of market research. So we aim to solve problems, not just create solutions that may or may not get used. So we do a ton of market research, and we spend a lot of time working with our veterinary partners on what problems do we need to solve. And what we've seen a massive change or a massive uptick in the feedback is just around effectiveness and efficiency within the practice. Now, that's not to say that hasn't always been the challenge. It has forever been the challenge. But in a world where they are still doing curbside service in many of the states over here, and also in some of the countries in Europe, and also some of the states over in Australia, in a place where they're doing that, they actually just need much more connected tools. And so one of the huge programs that we're working on in Covetrus, both in the international business as well as in the North America business, is the connected practice strategy. And to give you like 5 seconds or maybe 10 on what that means is, how do we take all of the tools that it takes to run a vet practice and actually have them all interoperate with one another? Because if you go inside a vet practice, which I have a lot of, as you might imagine, there are many, many tools they need to run their day, from how my appointment's looking. I need my practice management solution so I can see the pet's medical record. I now need to log on and do something on prescription management or manage my inventory. And now I need to go and order my gloves and my sutures. So our thesis, we have a lot of assets here in terms of technology assets that we are bringing all together so that we can integrate tools to allow a vet practice to run more efficiently. And that could be on an existing practice management solution like an Avamark, Impromed, RxWorks, RoboVet, which is some of our global solutions, where we integrate some tools to help run that efficiency. But also we have Project Ascent, which is our product in the international business, which is a cloud-based practice management solution, which will look to drive more efficiency throughout the practice, to really drive for seamless practice efficiency. And then as you think about it on the consumer side, how do we help the consumer have access to their medical record, booking an appointment, seeing when they need to dose their animal? We're working on that connected consumer strategy as well. And so it's a lot of work. I won't say that it isn't. We have, through the merger, inherited a lot of really great technologies, all different code bases. We have about 9 different practice solutions. But it's absolutely a passion of the team. So we are marching down that path.
Yeah, and it does sound like this unified approach is indeed taking into account the needs and wants of what vet practices are looking for, and just streamlining all of those operations and making it significantly easier for them to do their job. And not only easier, but saving them time, saving them costs. And I'm sure there's a whole raft of benefits there, but it sounds very exciting. And outside of the technology space, like there's other factors lurking in the background, which is really impacting the clinic's operations and what they're doing, how they're grappling with other issues. So it might be mental health, the global vet shortage, and we did have chats with a couple of other guests on our podcast to talk about these things, but it's one of those things where we need to constantly talk about it because they're big issues. What's your view on the industry addressing those?
I think you're mentioning 2 really, really big issues the industry is facing. And, some we can help solve, others we all just need to support. And so on the global vet shortage, it's really real and you see it everywhere. I have a dog called Hank and I have a cat called Mochi. And my dog recently, shouldn't probably say this, was chasing a cat and managed to do a tumble straight into a puddle. So I had to ungracefully pick him up from a puddle, but he hurt his back. And it took me 3 weeks to get an appointment with my vet, Ginger. Shout out to Ginger, she's fantastic. And it was purely because they are absolutely slammed. And so, as that from a technology perspective, of course, everything we're thinking about is how to make it more efficient. So we have more time with animals, that we assist our veterinarians to have more time with the animals, which will help. Mm-hmm. We also support some of the university programs and figuring out how to get more veterinarians through college. And so looking at that constantly here at Covetrus as to how do we support that, particularly diversity in the vet space as well, which is also very challenging, particularly here in the US. Diversity is a real challenge, so helping support that. But then on the mental health side, it's a massive challenge, and it's one that I don't think gets spoken about enough. But it's one of the professions with one of the highest suicide rates, and there are many great charities, some of which, as you know, we partner with, Love Your Pet, Love Your Vet here in the US, and then Vet Life in the UK. And then there's a couple of great charities over in the US, Mighty Vet and Not One More Vet, where we find ways to support them. And it might be things like we help host webinars. We provide infrastructure that they don't have as small charities. We give voice or amplify to try and help them get the message out that really and truly it's a huge problem in the industry. It's kind of going to be a kind of it's a super challenge, because it's only with less vets, it puts more pressure on the practices. And so, we take that very seriously when we're thinking about how to help make them more efficient, or how to provide tools to make the day easier, even just doing their everyday job easier. As we think through our roadmap, that plays very heavily on our mind, for sure.
Yeah, there's deeper roots in that issue. So it's not something that we can solve easily in a short time. I think it's been brewing for a long time, and the pandemic just exacerbated everything.
Yeah,
but it's yeah, you're right. I do think that whilst we can't address it directly or solve it directly, it's like you said, giving voice to these things, always talking about it, raising awareness, and making sure it's at the forefront of everyone's mind. Because I know when I speak to the charities, for example, Vet Life in the UK, they told me they had 4,000 calls last year, which is really sad to hear. But, at the same time, that's what they're there for. And they are looking for funding. They're looking for platforms to communicate on. And even simple things like, helpline stickers. They can, research and studies do prove that if you're able to have signs up in place or some sort of communication, and you have it there at a point of crisis, or if someone's in need, they're more likely to seek out help. They'll just call the number and have someone to talk to.
I completely agree. And I think it's whilst it's a really big issue in our industry, I'm a massive believer in not allowing these things to go under the carpet, because you can't help if you don't know. And so whilst, yes, Vet Life getting 4,000 calls is kind of a testament to where the industry is, my gosh, thank goodness those 4,000 people called.
Yeah.
If they don't call, we should normalize as much as is possible the outreach for help, because it is a very challenging industry. You go to vet school to learn to assist and help pets and animals. And it's high stress, high stakes, high stress all of the time. And so
high stakes, high stress. And as you say, salary is pretty low. It's not enough.
No, they're all superheroes.
Yeah, exactly.
Our pets are all babies.
I know, right? So with that, just overall, you've had a long, hopefully nourishing career, and I'm sure you've learned lots of things along the way. What advice would you give your younger self?
I guess I would say to anyone embarking on their career, and also I guess to my younger self, which is, be bold, never be afraid to ask for what you want, be very curious. I think the reason I started off in finance and ended up in more general management, and particularly in software, was because I was endlessly curious about wanting to push the boundaries of what I thought I could learn or do. Believe in yourself. Oh my gosh, just 100% believe in yourself, particularly as a female in a male industry. I'm in a very male-dominated industry. That's what software is, just historically. Although I will have to say we have a phenomenal D&I team here at Covetrus, constantly working on trying to change that, and they work really hard at that. So believe in yourself is really key, and work hard. I mean, I am again a huge believer in grit and determination. I actually didn't go to college full time. I went to night school. I left school at 17 and went straight out to work. Ooh. And so grit and determination and constantly learning and constantly being curious has me where I am today. So I didn't even take the traditional route of college, degree, internship, or I didn't do any of that.
It's testament to the fact that you don't always need something on paper. You don't always need a degree to get far in life.
That's right. Keep going.
Keep going. It's a strong message. And I am inspired by you, actually, because I think, as you say, a lot of industries are male dominated. For women, you just have to work that little bit extra hard, or a lot extra harder. And it's, just, at Covetrus, as you know, we have employee resource groups that do try to cater to diversity. We have a 15-minute chat every Tuesday for women, for example. And it's just initiatives like that that really paved the way for expansion, inclusivity, diversity, all of the things to make things equal and fair, and to provide more opportunity. I think that's really important. But I love that you have advised believing in yourself. Like, I know sometimes it sounds cliche a lot of the time, right? But you have to remind people you need to have that faith in yourself.
We have an awful lot of very talented individuals and women here at Covetrus, and we are very fortunate. I work in a leadership team, and equally, they are all involved in how to promote inclusivity, diversity throughout the whole of Covetrus. So the other advice I would give is find the right team as well. They exist. I mean, they really do. Throughout my career, most of my best mentors have actually been men. People championing me have actually been men. And so it's not quite the same for everybody, of course, but find the right teams and then be bold.
Yes, I love that. Amazing. Well, it's a perfect ending to this episode. And we'll include everything that you've mentioned, the important links on our show notes. Thank you so much, Georgia. That was amazing.
No, thank you. And happy holidays to everybody as well. Enjoy the season with your families and your friends.
Awesome. And it's a wrap. It's almost the end of 2021. Can't quite believe it, but we are looking forward to what 2022 will bring. And if you're looking for ways to prepare for the future for 2022, do keep an eye out on our website and blog posts, as we'll soon be posting ideas and resources which will help you do just this. Everything from evaluating your clinical ecosystem using a handy workbook to a lookbook for ideas and inspiration on communicating and connecting with your clients. As Georgia said, happy holidays, and do take your well-earned break over the festive season. Until next year, our lovely listeners.